Right, so this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Price has slightly moved a little bit, and obviously, yeah, sentiment's going to be a little bit cautious. And the charts are saying one thing: we need to hold this level, we need to stay in this area, and then it might be a bit okay. For now, let's just stick around, I'll explain why. My plan is today is to just showcase some news that could be of interest moving forward certainly into this quarter. And more importantly, as I say, why this price is quite important, because if it goes wrong, it will go wrong pretty spectacularly. Before I crack on with this, if you are still around, if you are still a die-hard cryptocurrency nerd, so to speak, slap the like button and comment. Let me know if you're still here. It helps the algorithm a lot, and it helps get this video pushed further, unless you want to keep seeing people watch the moon cow, for example, right? Let's talk about some stuff that did happen over the last couple of days and weeks. Obviously, the New Year's Eve liquidity thinning, basically. I've just worded that. Long story short, Wintermute, you've probably heard of it. It is facing a lot of scrutiny due to the fact of how it kind of, you could argue, coordinated manipulation. Doesn't really work very well, though. But data shows that they kind of moved a lot of BTC. So that was quite useful in certain ways. And you could talk about how this is targeted around a certain date point for the low liquidity. So yeah, you can see here with low liquidity windows. That is interesting. So they're deposited in terms of that intra low, which is very, very interesting. So obviously, to kind of thin this out in terms of obvious, this will give you a sense of, oh my God, this is worse than it is, because it will have an exaggerated drop. So if this has become a situation where you have been wicked out of a move before the move up, it's just the unlucky nature of it, but ultimately you need to kind of probably focus on your risk management. The fact that they've done it in this period would showcase stuff. But yeah, you can talk about certain things about this over the course of time. There has been a lot of debunking about manipulation. I think it's a combination of three things: low liquidity, too many market emissions with other assets, and probably retail just no longer being interested. So it's kind of giving you that compound effect of why a lot of altcoins especially have went down quite a lot. Now, another bit of news that we do need to talk about is the US regulation. US regulation has become a bit of a pain in the ass. The Clarity Act aims to end the SEC CFTC tug of war. Whether that becomes a thing or not, I don't know. There's a lot of noise about this around about how many things will come out with it. More importantly, it's still very, very early. I hate the fact of this situation happening with crypto. When I first invested in crypto in 2016, it wasn't anywhere near this sort of like regulatory clarity or whatever. So it's a big, big thing. The thing is we need to talk about is the fact of the obvious in the room, the power of the state. What will it have and what will it need to have to do certain things? We need to kind of remove a couple of the bad actors realistically still. Even now, we can talk about market manipulation, just mentioned it. We need to have that situation where, yeah, you can talk about regulation fair. It doesn't pump overnight. It won't. But it does reduce potential here, uncertainty in the markets. And uncertainty is what kills, I think, risk appetite, especially in crypto. We've seen it before with FOMC meetings. We've seen it before with inflation data. People are uncertain because now there's bigger money in the play. They're uncertain to invest. They're uncertain to pull triggers. Whereas back in, a couple of years ago, they weren't even asked. So it's very, very different. So just be mindful of this. Obviously, yeah, there's a lot of, I think, potential money that could be sitting on the sidelines waiting for certain things to happen. But that doesn't mean it's going to pump overnight. It doesn't mean it's going to go crazy. There's still, I think, a lot of situations around this entire market that is emerging. Massively emerging, let's be honest. But the final thing I do kind of need to talk about is the geopolitics here. Donald Trump, Venezuela, Colombia, interesting situations around that. Now, stuff like that, the market didn't really panic much, did it? It was okay. Crypto is perfect for this sort of thing. It's a way to become a currency in situations like this. We've seen it before. So it's a signal where maybe, you know what, we might be all right here. So just keep it in the back of your mind here. You might be looking at this as a different way. Because what we do need to look at is the technical analysis. What has happened? We're finally in this red box. Now, this is, you could argue, yes, a red box of doom. Sorry, let's talk bearish first. If we do reject from this point, it will suck. Just saying. I know, you probably turned off the video right now, so goodbye. But my point is, we have to bounce. We have had a big drop. We do have to bounce. And the news isn't great. It's not giving us full, rainbows and pink sparkly stuff at the minute. It's not great. But obviously with the situation around war, with how cryptocurrency is in terms of especially Bitcoin, it could actually be a good thing. Now, obviously, yes, we've rejected this point a few times. That's a weekly time frame. It's quite a good weekly candle. 3-day time frame, we are retesting the EMA 21, and we are looking to go in towards the RSI zone where we may be trickling bullish for once, finally, taking this time. So these higher time frames mean a lot. Obviously, the monthly time frame doesn't really matter too much just yet, but give it another 20 days or so, we might be looking at this thinking, oh, this is pretty cool. But ultimately, we've had quite a lot of horrible white candles in my sense. So not looking great, but we do need to bounce. If we close above this wick here of 94,000, it'll be quite good. It'll be a good start. It'll be a potential reversal point. But my biggest issue regarding all of this is the fact that we will probably hit a level and slow down. That's my big point. So for me, 98,000 is absolutely critical for me. So we've finally got above this area for the first time in a long time. Obviously, this pre-A is awful. If you've been following me, you probably noticed that everything's just gone a bit flat. It's just the reality of the game right now. People in crypto need that appetite for prices. I understand it, but ultimately nothing's really happened. That's the problem. But what I will say here, we need to hold in this zone. We need to remain quite stable, try and hold the line essentially, and then gradually build on from that. But 92,000, nearly 93,000 is quite a good price level to be on. But yeah, I am pretty bullish for a bounce. That doesn't mean we're going to go to new all-time highs. That's just like, I'm just waiting and seeing. I will be talking more about the Bitcoin price and other altcoin assets in tomorrow's Patreon video. If you are interested, there's a link below. Every Tuesday or every Thursday, depending on the price, I will talk about the TA. Now, when we talk about geopolitics and the DXY, which is the dollar index, this is starting to spike up. But it also has rejected a little bit, kind of. So we need to be mindful of this. This could be going down. Now, obviously, yes, it's the vibe check. It's the risk on, risk off for most of the stock market. Risk assets usually chill out at certain points here, and it softens. And, basically we want this to go down. Long story short, we need this to continue the downtrend, and that might well soften the blow for crypto, or it might well allow things to go higher. Because when this does go up, it's protection, it's size down, and it's be picky, essentially. When it's going down, it's usually a risk on window. Now, obviously, yeah, you're going to go, well, nothing happened in crypto. No, it didn't. Nothing did happen in crypto here because ultimately what happened was everything went elsewhere. Look at how silver's done. Look at how gold's done. Platinum. Look at certain situation on the NASDAQ, the S&P, even the FTSE 100, whatever it may be, right? Most things have gone mental apart from crypto here. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. I was kind of flipped it on its head a little bit. Obviously, the stock market hasn't opened great over the last, especially over the Christmas period. It wasn't great. Unless you're in the UK, we've done fantastic, which is mad. So, yeah. Just be mindful of it. But that also leads us with crypto as just flip-flopping around our own dominance indicators. Nothing's happening. It is awful. That's the problem. And that's why I think everything's just cooled off massively. Like people have just walked away. Obviously, Bitcoin needs to stabilize. There's still a lot of uncertainty there. You got a situation around, you could argue here, stable currency dominance is not doing what it says on the tin. We are much higher than expected. We are coming down a little bit here. We have had a bit of a bounce. That's good to see. But as I say, it's very early. It's very, very early. And this could actually just go into this zone and then continue going higher. Obviously, Ethereum needs to sort itself out. XRP, Solana, whatever. And then maybe the market will follow with it. But normally, you tend to get some good price action around January and February. But we haven't had that yet, or an indication from December in terms of a push. We are at early days. That's a problem. Because when we do look at stuff like this, the fear and greed index, look at this over the course of the last month. Even over the last 3 months, it's been pretty gnarly. It's been pretty crap. And this is the trap that we find ourselves in for a psychological point of view. When price moves, people do one or two things, usually stupid things. They chase the green candles and they're traumatized because they're missing out on moves. Normally buying at resistance, obviously. And then, yes, you could argue the second part is that, they sell on the first little red candle, which could be a problem, which is probably why we're stuck in this little bit of a flippy-flappy sort of period, especially with the fear and greed index. The sentiment is on its ass, and people are using high leverage, which becomes a problem. They're getting wicked out far too easily. But this is the thing that people forget, and I talk about this a lot, certainly in my courses and on Patreon, and you can get them courses on Patreon if you're interested. You need to use lower leverage, and you need to stop trying to be a sniper. Just stop trying to predict the tops and the bottoms. You need to follow the structure, and the structure breaks, and overall, the momentum of the market. Keep it super simple. If you're an investor, you should be looking at this at a totally different angle. And obviously, yes, if it's a relief rally, let's just say if you were punting on these lows and you're looking to sell up here, and even if we reject at these levels and go even lower, there might be an opportunity where you've got paid potentially somewhere down the line. In terms of what I'm doing, I'm not doing a lot at the minute. I'm just waiting because I'm not 100% sure what's going to be the main play. I think we need a bit of a bigger push, if that makes sense. A bit of a clear, that is where we're going. Whether we get a big push and then altcoins go with it, it might be quite easy for a very, very short time period. Obviously, yes, if Ethereum starts going up or the ETF inflow goes up, great, that might be a good trigger. Obviously, the stable currency dominance, if that starts going down, that'd be good. That would show that money is going from stable currencies into real live assets, mainly the altcoins. That would be a good starting point too. And obviously, yeah, if we hold at a certain situation, it might well give that market confidence. But we can't just guess and go, let's go. Because half the time people have got wrecked by trying to do that and trying to get in front of it. But realistically, I think you got to wait a little bit and just make sure it is all set in stone. And if you are looking at like playing this game, I recommend Blowfin. There's a 20% fee back from myself here. And also no KYC is required and open for the UK if you want to trade futures. That allows you to have an absolute stop loss and hopefully not blow yourself up by guessing on spot. And if you want to learn some stuff, they're all on my Patreon. There's courses. They're included in the membership. If you jump in the membership, you can get all these access anyways. If not, you can always also buy them for a very, very low cost. There's 3 more courses coming. I'm building them currently. There's the rotation one, dominance one, incoming very, very soon, plus a couple of others. Let me know if you think this is a real leg up or just a relief of more pain. Comments. I read them all and I might reply to you. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. If you've not yet done so, please do watch this video. It will help.